Well. What is going on, people? Street, and we're back in the building. Match reaction time. So you already know what it is. You know who it is. You already know what we're here for. Liverpool versus Arsenal. Obviously, the game has ended now. 1-1. 1-1 at Anfield. Arsenal taking an early lead through Gabriel. Nice little free kick put into the box. Gabriel with the header, and then Mo Salah turning Zinchenko inside out and then slotting home. Well, powerful finish, actually, more to say, if I'm being totally honest with you. But I think, we'll obviously get into, everything in terms of the game and things like that. But I do think it was a bit of a fair result. But obviously, of course, we'll touch on that in a second. Guys, let me know what you guys are thinking straight after the game. How are your emotions? How are your feelings? Did you think it was a deserved result? Did you think Liverpool should have won? Do you think Arsenal should have won? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let's get into the match reaction.
Through the lot, now you know I'm coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Tables turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep feeling it.
Yes, people. Like I said, you know what time it is. You don't know what it is. Last game before the Christmas break, or before Christmas Day, should I say. And then Liverpool return. I think it's on Boxing Day against Burnley away. So, it's going to be probably a bit of a tricky game. I know Burnley coming off their victory against Fulham as well. So they're definitely going to be buoyed up for that fixture, especially because it's going to be after Christmas. Big up to everybody, obviously, of course, who celebrates it. But yeah, it's like I said, man, in the intro, I felt like it was a fair game. I don't think either side deserved to win it, if I'm being totally honest with you. Didn't really feel that Liverpool did enough to win the game. Didn't really feel like Arsenal did enough to win the game either. So yeah, I feel like a point was actually just deserved, to be honest with you. Liverpool, in fact, not even just Liverpool. Let me not even be disingenuous. Both teams, in an attacking sense, just wasn't really there. And I almost feel, just coming off the Ensman show, talking on there, and I said both teams are so similar in terms of defense, not like a major problem or anything like that. Like, don't really need to pattern out. Maybe Arsenal will start looking at that Zinchenko position, but I mean, at the same time, you could argue the Trent thing as well, in terms of defensively. Even I thought Trent was really, really good defensively today. But in terms of what they're good at, and what they're not so, would I say, good at, so to speak, Zinchenko on the ball wasn't even really all that actually today anyway. And defensively, in that first half especially, he was all over the gaff. But defense will leave out. I'm not really too fussed. Midfield, I feel like they still got better midfield than we do. Felt the midfield was probably overall even between both sides, in terms of how many players I felt were good on their side, how many players I felt were good on our side. Obviously, we'll go through my match ratings and everything in a second. But the attacks of both teams were just poor, man. Was just so poor. For us, it was just nothing was happening up top. Like, nothing was happening. For Arsenal, things was happening. You just ain't got no one to score the goals. So whether that bodes well in terms of maybe they just need a striker, an Erling Haaland type now. Obviously, that's a unicorn if I ever saw one. But you know what I mean? Just someone who can put the ball in the back of the net consistently enough. I'm not saying they have to be Haaland, but you know what I mean? Just a natural born striker. Because that's when I watched the game and I'm looking at everything, that's what I just always felt was missing for them. Jesus is a good player, and I like Jesus quite a lot, but I just feel like, you've kind of got that Bobby role, that Bobby had before. And the difference that Bobby had is he had two killers on the side, Salah and Mane, they were real killers out there. I don't look at Saka and Martinelli as like killers, like, oh my God, they're going to do this, kind of thing just yet. They're still both incredibly young. So I feel like they'll turn into those anyway. But for right now, especially because they're trying to go for the league right now, I feel like if you ain't got that and really the only killer would we even say would be a Saka, then you're really like, ooh, okay, cool. What can we realistically do? Kind of thing. I know Martinelli scored goals last season. I know he got assists and stuff like that, but I don't look at them as like killers just yet. They haven't hit that level yet, but they will get there. But today, anyway, in the context of the game, I just felt like they were just missing, and I understood why he brought on Nketiah. That was the maddest thing. I was like, Nketiah makes sense because they're getting balls into the box. They just literally need just a natural striker. And Nketiah is a decent like backup option. I mean, if you don't mind playing that role, then it would actually be calm for him to be there, kind of thing. But he can sniff out a chance, here and there. He's got very good finishing, array of finishers. So it makes sense in this type of game where it's going to be small margins, where we just might need that late goal. In Liverpool's in Liverpool's attack, honestly, the attack was, and like I said, we'll go through the ratings in a sec, but the attack was shit in my opinion. Like nothing was popping at all. It's like I said, it was just anticlimactic. You know what I mean? It was just like, and just everything was nice. Trent, the passing, Jones keeping possession, Endo doing his thing in midfield, so Bozlai running around like Hendo, like it was all working, kind of thing. And then you get to the attack, honestly, man. And the thing is, on the bench, you ain't got no one on the bench anyway. There's no killer on the bench. Nunes, he's the one who's coming off the bench. Everyone's praying that he's going to be doing up, whatever he was doing up, during the week. And I'm like, nah, like it's just not gonna work. You know what I mean? For both sides, not just for Liverpool, but for both sides. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was a fair result, 1-1. We'll take a look at a couple of little bits before I get into match rating and stuff like that. So obviously, Arsenal obviously scored their goal. Good free kick, put into the box. Gabriel, nice finish. I felt like Ali maybe should have potentially come out for that. I felt like he was almost caught in no man's land, slyly. It's almost like he felt like, yeah, let me go. And then he didn't want to go. So then he kind of wanted to try and come back. He just felt like he was just caught in the middle between what he wanted to do and what he should have done, kind of thing. So, it is what it is. They obviously scored that goal. I would say the first half, it was like, they dominated, or they were playing well. I'm not going to say dominated, I feel that's too strong. They were playing well for like 15 minutes of that first half, but for the other, what's that, like 25 or so minutes, I felt like we were 30 minutes actually. I would actually say for 30 minutes, I felt like we were dominating. And that this is what I'm saying about the anticlimactic thing. We were dominating, passing and all that, but weren't really doing anything. Like it was, like I said, it was such a weird game. All this pressure and pressing, it was all good. Like I'm not gonna, be disingenuous to Liverpool today, like I always am. But all of that part was good. But then when we actually came to the most important part, Bar Salah's goal, nothing. It was just nothing. We were toothless, and so toothless up top today. It was unreal. But again, you guys have seen my last video where I spoke about, the attack. Is it just form or is it a cause for concern? For me, it's a cause for concern now. Like now I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little bit worried and a little bit annoyed that you guys are not really firing. And then Salah's keeping it moving to AFCON anyway. Man, Salah wasn't even here today. Oh, Liverpool definitely losing the game. Definitely losing that game. Definitely. Because no one else is scoring in this period right now. So that's why I really need someone to, to kind of step up. The pass from Trent, Trent's passing today, dumb. As always, to be honest with you, as always, like his passing was just dumb. But that pass into Salah was really, really, really good, man. I fucks with that. Trent in that first half, he had more touches and made more final third passes than any other player in the first half versus Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? 11 final third passes in just the first half alone. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Which then tells you that the attack are just not doing anything. They're not helping, you know what I mean? Like they're not helping Trent out. You feel me? Like Trent was doing as much as he could possibly do. But unfortunately, the other kind of guys in and around him weren't really helping him out, if I'm being, totally honest. And that was a shame, because especially when you've got someone in the team who is actively trying to do their thing and they're trying to do this, trying to do that, and you're just not really, pulling your weight, I just wasn't really feeling it. Obviously, we had the handball situation. I see if I got a video. I feel like, yeah, I got a video here. Let me show you guys now. So obviously, when we look at that, of course, everyone's like, okay, it's a penalty. And I'm like, for me, I put out a tweet and I said it. I said, for me, that's 50-50 in terms of I would understand why you give it, but then I also understood why you didn't give it. So I wasn't mad about it in that kind of sense. I was like, I looked at it first. Obviously, first time I saw it, I was like, oh, he's gone there. Yeah. Boom. Yeah, that's definitely a handball. Then when I looked at it again properly, I was like, obviously, he has slipped. So regardless of anything, remember, to me anyway, and again, this is just my personal opinion. At the end of the day, the ref didn't give it. So he clearly agrees with what I'm thinking, so to speak. For me, when he slipped, his hand is now in an unnatural position. That's not through a fault of his own. He's not put his hand in an unnatural position. It's because of the way his body is falling, because of the slip, is why his hand is in, that unnatural position. Hence why I felt like, yeah, okay, I see why you didn't give it, because if he doesn't slip, he doesn't handball it. We don't even get to, that situation. This isn't a case of he's moved his hand towards the ball either. As you can see, if I go back to the video, here we go. If you go back to the video, he's not putting his hand in the way on purpose. He's not, and that's where I would say, no, that's a handball, because he's put his hand in the way to stop play. He's not doing that. Yeah, I'm trying to say, he's not actually actively doing that. What he is actually trying to do is break his fall. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Of course, in that kind of situation, we've all slipped at some point in time, especially on grass. You can see that left foot right there. You can see the way that he's kind of gone. For me, I would like I said, I would have understood if he had given the penalty. I'm not saying don't give it and it's a stonewall. No, I'm definitely not saying that. I am saying it's one of those. If that happened against you, and if that happened against Liverpool, I know for a fact you guys would be like, nah, but he slipped. And when you slip and I know, we know, guys, don't be biased. We know that's what you would have said. I think I heard Ian Wright say, it was a penalty and Again, I understand why he would think that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because again, if that happened against him, he would be thinking the same thing, just like we all would. But when I looked at it and I kept looking at it, I was thinking, nah, I don't know, that's more of a 50-50. Like that, I feel like if the on-field referee would have given it, I don't think VAR would have intervened. But the fact that he didn't give it and VAR looked at it for however long they looked at it for, but because the fact that they had to look at it for a sec or for however long they did, I was like, they're not too sure on that one. Yeah, I'm trying to say, and from when I said you're not too sure, then you don't give it. Simple as. That's fair, absolutely fair. So for me, it wasn't a penalty, but I totally understand why you would have said it was a penalty. I'm not trying to argue with any. I don't care if you disagree with what I'm saying, because I am saying I understand why you would have come to that conclusion. But for me, I'm also saying you need to understand why they've come to the actual conclusion, in terms of, that wasn't a penalty. So yeah, that obviously happens in the game. Liverpool are, of course, 1-0 down at that point. So, we're trying to get back in the game. I feel like it was just more emotions and stuff like that. That's why people get more riled up. If it was 5-0 up, I doubt anyone's going to be realistically saying anything. But, it is what it is. And it's happened. It didn't, we didn't get the result. So, we kind of have to move on. Then this situation happens in the second half. Yeah. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 Liverpool players against 2. 3 if you count the goalkeeper. So 5 on 3. With one guy defending, One guy defending. And this doesn't result in a goal. Yeah. Trent's been taking finishing lessons from the strikers. I can't even lie, man. That finish was trash. Why the hell are you trying to roof it into the fucking net, bro? Just put it into the corner. You're good. The momentum of the pass and the pace of it is enough. So you'll gain enough power anyway, kind of thing. I heard obviously in commentary they're like, did it bobble and stuff like that? Nah. I'm not trying to hear any of that, man. Do you know what I mean? If it would have bubbled mad, I would have been like, okay, fair affairs. I watched that closely. I even had to zoom in on the screen kind of thing and took a picture, zoomed in and checked. Like the moment he contacted the ball, I said, nah. He's definitely got to score. He's definitely got to score that chance. But it's mad because I'm saying he's got to score that chance. I'm talking about my right back having to score that chance because the attack was so shit. Like, that's how dead that they were. I'm asking my right back, bro, you got to score, man. Heck, Joe Gomez almost nearly scored in the game as well. Like, it was one of those type of games. And I think if things don't improve for Liverpool in an attacking sense, especially, like I said, with Mo Salah going away on AFCON duty, we don't even know how he's going to come back. Last AFCON duty that he went on, Mo Salah was rubbish for the last half of the season. Don't you guys remember? We had Luis Diaz and Sadio Mane. They were really the only ones. Bobby flittering in and out, doing whatever he does. But it was Luis Diaz coming in, which helped us massively. Sadio Mane obviously playing in that more central role, and it helped that Mane was the one who, obviously buoyed by winning it, winning the AFCON against Salah, blah, blah. It just helped that he was playing well, and then Diaz was also playing well. At the moment, none of them are even playing well. I know Salah got the goal, and it was a very good goal, but in terms of playing well, nah. I definitely wasn't really, what I mean? Like, I definitely wasn't really feeling, that kind of performance. Obviously, we saw as well, Tsimikas going off injured, 50-50 with Saka. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's just unfortunate that he obviously got injured. It's peak as well because obviously now I don't know exactly when Robertson's coming back. I haven't really read any LFC news and stuff like that, but you guys can obviously tell me. I don't. It's peak because now if Robertson's coming back like early Jan, now it's not a case of, yo, Gaffer, man, do you know what I mean? Is it my turn kind of thing to play? Now it's okay, yeah, Robert, we need you back ASAP, you know what I mean? And that's the kind of sad part for someone like Tsimikas because he's been playing well. He's been playing, I think he's been a steady Eddie since Robertson's been out. And that for me, fantastic, especially for someone like him to just keep it consistently steady. I love that for him. And unfortunate that obviously he's picked up, this injury. I really didn't want him to anyway. One other player before I get into my ratings, that I wanted to talk about, Endo. I thought he was absolutely brilliant this evening. He put in a really, really good performance in that defensive midfield position. Good at, breaking up play and stuff like that. He's good with the passing. I felt like that was all really good, from Endo. You can see here 2 successful progressive passes in the game, 5 recoveries, 3 out of 3 tackles, 1. It was really an all-round kind of, would I say, midfield display, so to speak. He only made 6 incomplete passes in the entire game, 42 passes completed. Look at some of the passes he is even making in the game as well. He was trying to keep things ticking, in my personal opinion. I just felt like he was really, really good in today's game. Maybe he would have felt like he probably deserved to be on the winning side because he was really, really good. But it is what it is. Obviously, with all that being said, with everything I've shown you, regardless, we obviously got a draw. It was 1-1. So, there's not really much else that we can, realistically do. If I put out the lineup, let's just get this ready. There we go. Dar she blows. Didn't get there. You can see I've already put up some of the scores. These are just some of the players who had started coming off and stuff like that. I might actually change that Jones one, actually. We'll get into that one in a sec. I put Tsimikas, I just left him at a 5 because I always do my ratings, and as I'm watching the game, I'll either then change it or, if I feel, okay, yeah, this person's gone high off this, and then it just makes it easier for me when I'm doing the rating sometimes to kind of do that with some players or some games, should I say. I always, on a different page, I've got it up in terms of, all right, well, this guy was a 5, this guy ended on this, but I said, you know what, let's kind of show you guys in terms of where my thinking was at, with some of these players. But let's obviously dive into it. Alisson, I don't even feel like he had anything to really do in the game, to be honest with you. Again, not his fault. The only thing I would probably say was just the goal, to be honest with you. I did feel like he could have done a little bit better, in my personal opinion, but I'm not a goalkeeper, so who am I to say? Tsimikas, as I said, he came off. I can only really give him a 5. He didn't really do anything in the game, right or wrong, because he didn't have enough time, obviously, coming on for Joe Gomez. I think more so I would just talk more about Joe Gomez. We'll get onto the subs in a second. Van Dijk. Van Dijk, I thought he was, it's the same thing. I think I've said this on a previous match rating before when it comes to like Van Dijk. He almost comes like a goalkeeper that when they're not doing anything, I don't know how to really rate you in terms of like, I can't rate you too highly because it's not like you're doing bare things. And again, that's not his fault, by the way. That's not against him. I can't mark him down for not doing anything because the team, it's just one of those kind of things. But I find it then tricky to be like, oh, I'm gonna give him like some people were saying like he was amazing. I do, definitely, if you think that's amazing, Lord knows then what a massive, an amazing performance from Van Dijk actually is, in my personal opinion, because I didn't think he was amazing at all. I actually think Konate was even better than him in the game. But yeah, I feel like what he had to do in the little he had to do, I thought he was very good at doing that. So that's why I give him a 7.5. Not because I felt he was poor or anything like that, just because I didn't really feel like you did anything else. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't an amazing performance like that. Konate, I'll give an 8. At times, both him and really the back line at times were a little bit indecisive, especially in that second half. When Arsenal were getting a little bit too dominant. It's funny, something I heard Gary Neville say, make Liverpool defend. And I was like, yeah, if you make us defend, we start getting nervous. It's like we can't defend, or we don't really know what to do at times. And all of them were culpable of that. Everyone bar Tsimikas, Joe Gomez, Van Dijk, Konate, excuse me, Trent Alexander-Arnold, they were all like that. At times when you asked them to defend, it was like, ooh, getting a little bit shaky. I know you're playing against Arsenal, but I can only judge against, what I'm seeing. But as an overall, I felt like Konate was really, really good. He was winning duels, making good little interceptions here and there. But it's funny, and I know this wasn't given as a penalty. There was that moment when him and Trent, they were coming together against Kai Havertz. Wasn't a penalty, like, forget all of that part. But I saw Konate, almost try to put his hands on Havertz, and I'm like, it's like these little things I always pick out with Konate, because I'm like, you can become a top defender. Your opposite number, in Saliba, who I thought was absolutely immense today in what he had to do. In terms of how he played and the things that he was doing. That's the kind of performance I would like to see. I don't ever really feel super calm with Konate, and this isn't today's game, so to speak. This is just as a general sense. I don't always feel that kind of calm with Konate, if I'm being honest. Whereas with Saliba today, he was just immense, man. He was immense. And again, you got so many Liverpool fans, I understand bigging up your player and stuff like that. And I get it. I fully get it. I'm not saying don't do that, but come on, man. Sometimes take the biasness out of it, man. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, sometimes are we watching the same thing? Like, we just watch my man put in a monster class performance, both aerially, on playing with the coolness, the calmness on the ball, and all that kind of same things that we want to laud, Van Dijk for. My man was effectively doing more or less the same kind of things, but then we want to be like, oh no, but this guy was. But I'm like, come on, man. Like, it doesn't really make sense. Like, when I'm listening, like the analysis at times, but it is what it is, and I get it. The rivalry, it's your player, you want to big him up, do your thing. I'm not trying to fight no one on that kind of thing. But I am saying, start making it make sense. Yeah, I'm trying to say, start making it make sense. Trent today, I'll give him the 8.5. I felt like for me, would I say he was my man of the match? I feel like it's between him and Endo, actually. I actually feel like it's between him and Endo. He might edge it, because Endo, when he gets a yellow card, I don't know. I don't trust that brother like that. I really don't trust him. I feel like he's one of them ones. I'm like, oof. Anytime he wants to, because he likes to tackle so much, I always find it like, I don't really know. But Trent was really good. He was really, really good today, man. I mean, he just really needed to put that chance away. I would have given him higher if he'd also got himself a goal and an assist in the game. But in terms of overall performance, he was trying to make things tick. He was dropping into that centre-back position with something I saw, something I've been asking for when, especially in defensive transitions now, it still looks like we're kind of open anyway, but I'm hoping this will just work itself out over time. But he was dropping into that centre-back slot. The only difference is when he drops into there, he's not dropping in there to defend. He's just dropping in there to really pick up the ball, like just and almost be so he can split the two other centre-backs, Van Dijk and Konate, on either side, and then allow for whoever the left back is to obviously maybe potentially push a little bit more forward and get more bodies in and around the box in that midfield area. But he was dropping into that well, picking up the passing was so dumb, man. He was generally trying to put on a show for everybody watching. Like the passing was crazy. But yeah, I felt like his all-round performance in the game. If anything was going to happen, I felt like he was going to make it happen. That's how I felt in the whole game today. But yeah, that's him. Endo. I kind of give them both the same score, man. I can't really go any higher than that. Yeah, Endo, I felt was really, really good defensively in the game. Like I said, I felt like, breaking up play and things like that. Like I felt like he was doing really well, at those kind of things. And not even that, obviously I showed you guys the graphics in terms of his passing and stuff. Even his passing, he won 3 out of 3 tackles today. He won half of his ground duels. I know it's only 5 out of 10. I mean, I would like to see that a bit more, to be honest with you. But it's just his positioning, 5 passes into the final third and stuff like that. Like his all-round kind of gameplay today for me was really, really impressive from Endo. And I felt like, yeah, it was a really, really strong performance, from him. To be honest with you, again, alongside Trent Alexander-Arnold, I felt like, not to say that he would have made things happen, but he was helping that in that defensive kind of setup. And as I said, when Arsenal started to dominate for that last 15, 20 minutes of the game, they're getting more possession, they're popping the ball around and stuff like that. He was still in there, still running, still making those tackles, still positionally aware, especially when the subs came on and they were all shit. Like it just helped. It just really, really helped, in my personal opinion. But yeah, a really, really good game for Endo, if I'm being honest. Jones, I've seen a lot of people clamor for this. Not taking off Jones. Obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but at the same time, if I would have taken, you could have taken off either Jones or Szoboszlai. Let's put it that way, because I don't feel like they were really doing that much. Yeah, I'm trying to run it back in my head, and it's what I say about this over-gassing stuff sometimes. I don't what was he doing that we needed him to stay on? If that kind of makes sense, I like, what, let me even take that down a notch. Yeah, what did we think that he was doing? He wasn't poor at all, by the way. He definitely was not poor. He wasn't, in my opinion, as poor as Szoboszlai anyway. I thought Szoboszlai was poor, but yeah, I feel like I need someone to explain to me what they feel he was offering in that kind of sense, where it was like an outrage that he came off the pitch kind of thing. I don't feel like it was an outrage. When I saw the sub, I was like, okay, yeah, cool. That kind of makes sense. I would have taken off either him or Szoboszlai. I actually thought Szoboszlai was coming off, to be honest with you. I thought they were both coming off. Then I was like, okay, yeah, let's get it cracking. But then he only brought off Jones. Maybe that's why people looked at it a bit mad. I feel like maybe that could be a reason for that. But yeah, I'm kind of lost with it, to be honest with you. Good on the ball, keeping possession. He was trying to be a link man for the attack, but he's working with all bums up top, so it just wasn't even really, it wasn't really clicking. And again, I don't even feel like, usually I always say with the forward line, it's not your fault if the midfielder are not doing their job and do. Bro, the midfielders are doing their thing, man. We had Endo putting balls into that final third. We had Trent putting balls 11 alone in the first half into that final third. You, man, weren't on piss. I promise you. I'm so annoyed at that attacking performance kind of thing. And I'm so mad. I'm even annoyed that Salah scored, because I'm like, you're my guy, but you're proving exactly what everyone says about you, which is the output is more important to you than the performance itself, kind of thing. But we'll get onto him, obviously, in a sec. So Szoboszlai, thought it was a 6 kind of performance. Yeah, it was just above average. But again, I'm really not seeing it with this guy at the moment. I really don't understand with Szoboszlai, what is going on. Because you just seem to be just going, it started off up here. Maybe it's just when you get the new manager bounce, especially these lower league teams, like a Sheffield United, getting a result, the other night against Aston Villa. That new manager bounce, sometimes it works, and then you can, do your thing. And then eventually you almost hit like that kind of like, phew, you start, just ending, you start going a bit poorly, kind of thing. That's how I'm looking at it with Szoboszlai at the moment. Started off really, really well at Liverpool. I would say it's now been, I can't even remember how many games, but we're December 23rd now. So easily over a month now of football that he's played. And yeah, he's just not putting in, those performances at all. Diaz, you can see I put a 4. I thought I could have gone less, and I probably should go less. But I almost felt like defensively he was trying to help with Saka on that side, but that was kind of it. I don't feel like he did a great job there. I just felt like defensively that was probably the best part of his game, which is fine. Some games you do need those kind of performances. I don't mind that. But even that, I don't feel like was even amazing or anything like that. And yeah, going forward, non-existent. Gakpo didn't even, what? Let me even do exactly what I was even thinking to do. Gakpo was even worse. I didn't even, at one point, I didn't even know the brother was even there. Like, Gakpo, man, you're making me look bad because I'm the one saying, yeah, no, play Gakpo, false 9, coming to midfield. Bruv, you are absolutely useless. You are absolutely useless. Not doing nothing for me up there. And then Salah gets the goal, but at times touch was a little bit off. Touch was off in the game at times. Final kind of passing wasn't really there, if I'm being totally honest with you. I'm trying to think, I think he only, looking now, 1 out of 4 successful dribbles, typical. Dispossessed 3 times in the game. He did put 2 passes into the final third. 3 out of 11 ground duels, 1. Like, yeah, it felt weird, yeah, because there was a point in the game I was watching and I kept thinking to myself, you know what's mad? Usually, like when Salah gets the ball and he's got his back to goal, it sticks with Salah like all the time. Like for a small guy, he's strong. You know what I'm trying to say? He's a strong guy kind of thing. Strong African. That's how we roll. But today it definitely wasn't like that. Obviously, coming up sometimes, I think we moved him into the middle at one point, kind of, he was playing through the middle at one point in the game. That was never going to work against, like, that's like coming up against Konate and the Van Dijks. Like, unless you move these guys around, you're not going to beat them in duels and in battles. You can't beat Van Dijk in battles. You can't beat Konate in battles. You ain't going to beat Saliba in battles, and you ain't going to beat what's his name, Gabriel in battles. These guys, that's what they live for. They're centre backs, bro. Like, that's what they want to do. He was playing well against Zinchenko. He was getting a tune out of Zinchenko, but then when we then moved him in, yeah, and I just felt like as a whole, yes, he was better than everybody else in terms of the attack. Got that goal, fantastic goal. But yeah, as a whole, nah, man, I wasn't feeling that at all, man. I definitely wasn't feeling that at all. Gomez obviously coming on. I don't know if you can do it for subs. I don't think so. No, I don't think you can. But yeah, Gomez obviously coming on. Would I say he grew into the game? He grew into the game. He grew into the game. Started off very shaky, very, very shaky. Saka had him on toes for a hot sec, and he was definitely worried about it. As the game kind of grew, you saw him trying to get forward, almost scored a goal as well, which I was like, oh, like, I was like, ooh, I thought that was going in. Who knows? It's probably coming closer. I'll probably give him 6.5 for that performance. I thought it was okay. He was okay. But there were moments in the game I wasn't really too happy with. And again, when they were starting to get a bit of joy down that side, giving Saka the ball constantly. I'm not saying that's not his fault that they're giving him the ball, but sometimes I was just a little bit like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like there were a couple of moments. There was even a moment where Saka actually got into the box from a throw on, and I was like, yo, like, Jones, like Gomez, like, what's kind of going on? But yeah, other than that, I felt like he was generally okay. Who else? Come on, Gravenberch. Listen, I'll let Enz chat about Gravenberch whenever he does his own like little analysis or whatever. Taking a look at the game himself. Yeah, I mean that like that cameo was dead. That's all I know. That cameo was absolutely dog shit. Who else is there? Elliot, non-existent. Nunez, non-existent. Yeah, all of them. I won't give a rating for any of them. I'll just put non-applicable, not applicable. For all of them, because there was no rating I could give them. Do you get what I mean? I mean, if I had to give a number, Gravenberch 1, Elliot 2, Nunez 2. Like obviously down to minutes and stuff, but that's just if I had to give them a number. I will give my man in the match to Trent though. I felt like he outperformed Konate. Yeah, that's just my personal opinion. Like I said, I thought Konate was good. But I felt like Trent was the one really making everything happen. You know, he was decent defensively, fantastic kind of going forward, should have scored the goal. And that's what kind of puts a downer on the performance. And otherwise, I would have given him like a 9.5, you know, if he had capped off that game with the winning goal and stuff like that, you know, another one. But obviously got the assist. Passing was good. Positioning was really, really good as well. Something I was noticing quite a lot with Trent. But yeah, that's kind of my my ratings for the game. Let me know obviously what you guys think. Agree, disagree. You know, I don't care really, but let me know what you disagree with the things that you do. So yeah, let me just take that off the screen. I think I had one more. No, that was all. But yeah, listen. Let's take a look at the table. If I can enlarge in this. You guys, boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's show you guys the table. Boom. So obviously that's the table there. So we can see Arsenal going to Christmas, top of the league, Liverpool in second by 1 point. I actually saw something funny. The last Liverpool and Arsenal in the last was it like 6 seasons or something along those kind of lines. If I can find the picture, I'll let you guys know. But I remember just looking at here it is. The last 6 teams to fail to win the title from top of the table in the Premier, like at Christmas time. Arsenal in 2007 and 2008 season, Liverpool 08-09, Liverpool 13-14, Liverpool 18-19, Liverpool 20-21, and Arsenal 22-23. These are the last 6 teams, and you've got both of them top of the table. I promise you now, if Liverpool or Arsenal do not win the league, I don't want to hear nothing from nobody, man. I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. Do you get what I mean? Obviously, we're looking at the table now. Man City are only now 6 points off the top. Win their game in hand, they're 3 points off the top. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Really, they're probably the big winners this weekend. Villa drew at home, you know, with their impressive home run this season. They obviously drew to Sheffield United. Both Arsenal and Liverpool, title rivals, they then drew. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's probably only a good thing for Tottenham because they won. You know, but Tottenham are only 2 points ahead of Manchester City at this current moment in time. West Ham are 4 points behind City, but obviously game in hand and all of that kind of stuff. Newcastle not really doing too great. But yeah, it's great for now. It's definitely a vast improvement, you know, on last season in terms of the performances and stuff like that. Obviously where we are in the league, you know, obviously it's definitely a massive improvement than it was last season. But, you know, there's a lot of what ifs, if I'm being totally honest with you. There will be a lot of what ifs when looking at Liverpool, the games that we've dropped points in and stuff like that. Obviously, I'll go through a bit more in detail during my mid-season review. So make sure you guys, obviously, of course, tune into that. That'll be a live. It should be on the 28th, I believe. I think so. It's a Thursday, I think. So I should be going live either just by myself and I'll just rap to you guys. So hopefully you guys will obviously tune in, or I'll try and get some guests on, try and get some of the lads to join in and, you know, drop their 2 cents into that. But yeah, look, 1-1 today. It's one of those kind of things. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be down about that because I felt like that the game we deserved a draw. At least I don't think we've done enough realistically, in my opinion, to win the game. And the same for Arsenal. I don't think they've done enough to realistically win the game. But it's going to be interesting. Arsenal now top at Christmas time. Will that mean that they end the league as Premier League champions? Will Liverpool overtake them? Or will Manchester City come out of nowhere and fucking win this Premier League again? Let's hope not, but let's wait and see. Guys, that is my last, obviously, match review before 2023 Christmas. I hope for everybody who does celebrate, I hope you have a very, very, very Merry Christmas. And again, I'll probably see you guys before the new year. But if I don't speak to you before then, have a happy New Year. Liverpool, Arsenal, 1-1, second in the league, through to the next round of the Europa League. Let's see what the next half of the season has in store for us. Peace.